Hey everybody, Pixel Pino back with you. Want to update you, it's day 24. 24 days until Bataan Memorial Death March in Las Cruces, New Mexico. We'll be able to march 26.2 miles of a marathon to honor those that gave their lives, sacrificed, or were POWs during World War II. As noted in my last video, I wanted to go over just some of my knowledge that I found along the way that I'd like to put out there and share. As a civilian, I have no military background, didn't understand, what rucking really was. But other than that, I mean, a rucksack is just another term for a backpack. But when you're going to be carrying 35 pounds plus, as required by the Bataan Memorial Death March to qualify and finish, I needed something that'll hold up for a lot of training, be able to hold all that weight. And as a novice, I started looking at reviews online, Amazon, different things like that regarding hiking backpacks. I haven't hiked really since Boy Scouts back in my elementary and high school years. So, I mean, I knew a little bit about it. I knew my feet hurt when I walked 5 or 6 miles. We carry out our canteens and our tents and whatnot and sleeping bags. But it was rather light. So I didn't really know much about that. And when I started looking at the prices for them, a lot of them were $200, $300, $400 for a lot of these, mid-range to higher end ones. And I'm always like sort of a mid-range kind of guy. But I was like, you know what? I really don't want to spend a whole ton of money on something that I may not have the capability to do with my knee. So I decided to look on eBay, maybe for some used items. I started looking into military backpacks. They seemed to be rather cheap. I didn't have an opportunity to go to like a military surplus. They're all down in Phoenix, and I'm about an hour north. And I know I wanted to get into it quick, and just do it. Just jump off and just dive in to see if I can do this. And so I ended up purchasing a Army issue, I believe, Molle II. Molle is a modular system. It has a frame, it has the bag and everything. And I picked this up. So we have a frame, have the waist belt, expandable on the bottom. We have our front lid or a top lid. And then that can expand upward. This can expand outward. I got some pieces on the side that I removed. Has adjustable strapping and everything on the front. Has a chest strap. I've been finding out over time that, it was one of those things where I needed to have a waist strap and a chest strap. That's a great way to carry the weight. And the modular system was great because it's I can shift it around to meet my needs. And it only ran me I think it was like $43 shipped to my doorstep. So, there's that. I ended up finding a company called Ruck. I'll talk about them more down the way, I'm sure. Ruck, but they were making just like a regular backpack, but with like a stiffening plate. They were selling it for like $250, $300, without a waist belt, and without a chest belt, And I was like, well, we'll figure it out. But everyone was talking about having a waist belt and the chest belt to really help put the weight on your hips as opposed to pulling on your shoulders. And so I will elaborate on that more. But I've really enjoyed it. It was an inexpensive way to get a backpack and just start training. So I got it in about 5 business days. And when I made the decision to have the backpack, I just, went outside and I took pavers, some spare pavers I had for the yard. And I put about 2 or 3 pavers in there when I first started. I started with the 11 pounds of the rucksack and a couple pavers. I was sitting at about 33 pounds. And then I went and borrowed a camelback from my mother-in-law, and that's what I started with. I had no accessories. You saw this, so that it has some reflective bands on it. I did buy those it was like 3 for $5 on eBay as well. A lot of my purchases have been done on eBay, just getting into this. So as I move along, I'll go through different gear and different equipment that I've picked up along the way. And again, this comes from a perspective of, a civilian trying to learn about the Bataan Memorial Death March that is a heavily a military populated event. So when people are talking about it on YouTube, when people are writing a blog about it online, a lot of them have past military experience, and so they're only talking about military equipment, not civilian equipment. As a military person, you may be required and only know about these items, but when you move into the civilian world, there may be items that obviously don't meet military requirements, but may be better. And so I was weighing that a lot. There's always a good, better, best, and I a lot of times like to start in the better area and try to figure out, what suits my needs. And if there's a best in the civilian area that supersedes, anything the military has to offer, I wanted to know about it. But there wasn't a lot of information. You sort of have to talk to both worlds and get the information from both. So when it came to the military packs, I had a couple choices. Alice pack, which is an Alice frame. It's an older frame. It's been around since like the Vietnam era. And that there was a metal frame. A lot of guys really enjoyed that frame. It's you just tie onto the frame your different waist straps and your shoulder straps and things like that. If it ever breaks, you can mend it in the field. But again, we're talking about like more of a combative kind of mentality, an Army or Marine or military mentality in using this equipment. The Molle has a nice curved frame that sort of fits your back. But if it were to break, I wouldn't have really a way to mend it in the field. But again, for my purposes, carrying just the 35 pounds for the race, I'm not looking to give it a whole ton of use, but I do need to stand up to carrying a lot of weight for a lot of miles. So far, I've been really happy with it, and I'll continue to elaborate on it. But that's sort of where I started, with just getting the backpack, strapping on some high-top shoes, and starting 2 or 3 miles at a time. And that was back in April of 2019. So far, this pack has lasted me. This will be the pack that I'm going to take to the Bataan Memorial Death March. I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed the customization of it, being able to buy different accessories and use the Molle webbing to get my cell phone holder on, and a bottle holder, and some magazine holders, and I'll elaborate on what I use those for as well. So I just want to give you a quick update. 24 days until Bataan step off, and that's super exciting. I'm just going to continue training. You'll probably catch me on a couple where I am out and about, maybe early in the morning, or maybe along Saturdays. I do a few of those. But until next time, just keep on rucking, and we'll see you at the finish line.